Welcome. You're now listening to The Asian Trio, the podcast where we share cultural differences regarding different topics each episode. This is your main host, Maria, who will represent Korean culture.
Hi,
This
this is Ika from Malaysia.
this is Victoria from Vietnam.
In today's episode, we're going to talk about food culture.
So Malaysian food culture is not just about eating delicious food. It's about diversity, traditions, and the way food connects people from different backgrounds. When I think about Malaysian food culture, I think of variety, strong flavor, and people coming together. Malaysia is a multicultural country, so our food is influenced by different communities such as Malay, Chinese, and Indians. That is why Malaysian food is so exciting. We have spicy dishes, rich curry, flavored noodles, and many kinds of snacks and dessert. Food is a part of everyday life in Malaysia. People love going to hawker store and night markets because the food is affordable, delicious, and full of local character. Popular dishes like nasi lemak, roti canai, satay, and laksa are more than just famous food. They tell the story of our country diversity. To me, Malaysia food culture is special because it shows how different cultures can blend together and create something truly unique.
I agree. I love the night markets in the South Asian countries since Korea doesn't really have a night market. I think that almost everyone traveling to Southeast Asia visits there for once, right?
Oh yes, definitely.
Yeah, me too. I agree with you. Night market are definitely a part of food culture in many Asian countries. In Vietnam, we also have night market, but I feel like they are not unique or stand out. It's still nice, but they feel quite familiar, like you can find in Myeongdong in Korea. I didn't go into Malaysia before, but one time I visited Taiwan and I honestly really impressed. The night market so lively and with so many different kind of food to try.
One interesting part of Malay dining culture is eating with the hands. In many Malay families, people use their right hands when eating, especially during traditional meals. It's not seen as rude, it's a normal and meaningful part of the culture. For many people, eating with their hands makes the meal feel more natural, personal, and enjoyable. Although chopsticks are common in Chinese culture, many Malaysian Chinese people also use a fork and spoon, especially when eating local dishes. This shows how Malaysian food culture is shaped by different traditions. If someone asks me about the most famous food in Malaysia, I would immediately say nasi lemak. It's one of the most iconic food in my country and is often known as Malaysia's national dish. Nasi lemak may look simple, but it's full of flavor. The coconut rice is fragrant and creamy, while the sambar adds a spicy kick. When you eat it with the peanuts, egg, and cucumber, the taste becomes even more exciting.
So lemak is like a coconut milk rice dish.
Oh yeah, actually the rice is made of coconut milk.
And how
Oh.
people usually eat that food, like your hands or fork.
It depends, but because I'm Malaysian Chinese, so I use spoon and fork. But Malay they actually prefer to use by hand. What makes nasi lemak truly special is that it is loved by so many Malaysians from different backgrounds. It is easy to find, affordable, and can be enjoyed at any time of the day. I think like in Malaysia it only costs like 2,000 won. Actually you can find it in Korea, but it's like 20,000 won, I guess. Yeah,
Oh my
it's very expensive.
gosh.
Yeah, it's very expensive in Korea.
Wow, like
So
in Korea, like only like 2001, we can't even buy an ice cream.
yeah,
Like we can't even.
agree. Yeah, because like in Korea, every meal is around like 8,000. The cheapest one,
Mhm.
like local food. So I think Malaysia is very like a good place to live, I would say, because the everything is cheap. So overall, Malaysia food culture is special because it reflects our multicultural identity and brings people together through taste, traditions, and shared experience. In my opinion, nasi lemak is not just food; it's a symbol of Malaysia culture because it brings together strong flavor, local ingredients, and the diversity of our people. So I would like to pass the mic to Victoria.
Okay, I think one of the most typical part of food culture is shared dishes. In a lot of Vietnamese meal, there are several dishes in the middle of the table and everyone just take what they want. So the meal feel less individual and more shared. And I actually used to think this was normal everywhere because I grew up with that kind of meal. But when I ate with my foreign friends, I realized that in some places, people use their own portion and don't really share food in the same way. And I think that's also connect to another important part of Vietnamese food culture, which is family dinner. During the day, people may eat separately because of everyone busy with their school or work, but dinner is often different. It's usually the time when family members come home, sit together, and share a meal. So for a lot of Vietnamese people, dinner is not just about eating, but also about spending time together after a long day. How about you guys? Is family dinner important in your country?
Oh yeah, I think like most of Asian countries have this family dinner kind of culture since Asian countries really emphasize this family thing.
Yeah, I think Malaysia we have something like this as well.
Yeah, and the next thing is about balance. Balance really important part of Vietnamese food. If you go to almost any restaurant in Vietnam, usually serve herb or vegetable on the table, and most of the time this is free. I have seen some foreign YouTubers come to Vietnam to travel and they get surprised, but that for us feel completely normal. I think that's already show how important freshness and balance are in Vietnamese food culture. So if I had to choose one dish, I would choose pho because it had the same sense of balance and familiarity. The broth, noodles, meat, and herb all come together naturally, so the flavor feel rich but still light. You can add herb, bean sprout, lime, or chili depending on your taste. So even though it's one dish, people can still adjust in a very personal way. Yeah, that's why I think it's make pho feel both traditional and approachable.
I love pho. I went to Vietnam with my family a few years ago, and we had this chance to have a cooking lesson with the Vietnamese chef. So we cooked like pho, and I love the noodle and the cilantro, and also like the lime and chili is kind of like a kick.
Yeah, really? Yeah, that's why I think pho represent Vietnamese food so well. Every taste combined one. And I can pass to Maria for Korean food culture.
Okay, so Korean meals consist of rice, which is the main dish, and panchan, which is a side dish. So since Korea is also a country with a family-friendly culture, a lot of Korean families used to have like a group of five or more people in the house with three generations living together. And we would sit around the table with rice and soup in front of us and side dishes in the middle, which are shared with the family members. So, unlike other countries, we don't often use a sharing chopstick. We use our own chopsticks. So, due to this culture, poking around dishes is considered unmannerly and unhygienic. Thanks to the clear distinction between four seasons in Korea: spring, summer, fall, and winter. Koreans love eating food from each season. This culture is called 제철 음식, meaning the food of the season. For example, spring greens such as water celery, mugwort, wild chive, and bomdong, which is something similar to cabbage, are in season at the moment. So last month, bomdong bibimbap or spring cabbage bibimbap went viral around Korean social media. As such, cooking dishes with ingredients of the season and eating the season's food is a traditional culture of Korea.
Yeah, I saw the Pongdong bibimbap like few weeks ago, and I actually want to try the food.
right?
Oh my
So
god. Actually, I like
like
bibimbap, but this one I think is a special one.
yeah, I think like unlike the normal common bibimbap, which has a lot of 나물 in it,
Yeah.
봄동 bibimbap is only consisted of like 봄동, like the cabbage thing, and rice and the sesame oil. I think that's the whole ingredient.
Oh, definitely need to. I think I need to try this one.
Right?
Yes.
And as for the famous food of Korea, one of the most hyped dishes from Korea is definitely kimchi. Because of this spiciness and the garlic flavor of kimchi, Korean immigrants in other countries used to be bullied a lot. However, nowadays, people all around the world make their own kimchi and upload videos on TikTok or Instagram. I still don't know how they got used to the strong and spicy flavor. However, did you know that kimchi was in fact white at the beginning? It wasn't until the 17th century that chili pepper was imported to Joseon, which is the old Korea dynasty from Japan. So before then, kimchi was a term for just heavy vegetables pickled with salted water. Although we still eat this kind of kimchi, which are kimchi or 동치미, red spicy kimchi made after the 16th century became common.
Maria, I have something. I have a question for you. Have you been trying to make kimchi with your family before?
I think in my generation, most of the kids who went to their grandparents' house at holidays would have like tried making kimchi with their family. I used to visit my grandparents when I was young, so that my mom can help grandmother make kimchi. We usually make kimchi in freezing cold winter. So I have this experience of freezing to death while washing the cabbage in the ice cold water. So when we like make kimchi in the winter, we call it 겉절이. It means like freshly made kimchi, and we steam cook pork and eat it with kimchi together.
I see.
Moving on, now we're going to talk about each other countries' food etiquette.
So I will start first with Vietnam part. One thing I find really interesting is the way respect for older people during a meal. I have heard about friends from other country that in their family, younger people don't usually need to say anything before eating. They just wait until the other person starts eating first and everyone will begin. But in
Oh,
Vietnam, quite different.
oh yeah. In Malaysia, it depends on family actually. So some family does, some family doesn't. So I was quite interesting because every family have to do this right in Vietnam.
Yeah, no, actually it depends on the reason, but it's more strict in the North Vietnam.
Oh, I
Oh,
see.
so like when you say like younger people usually don't have to say anything before eating, does it mean like younger people don't ever speak anything until the older person starts eating? So even though they're hungry, like they can't say anything?
Mm, yeah, they usually wait for them, or if they want to eat first, they still can ask them to eat first, but usually they will wait. They always wait
Oh,
for the elder people to start first.
okay.
Yeah, in Vietnam, many family, especially more traditional one, it's not just enough to just wait. Younger people are expected to actually invite the older people to eat first. So you don't only show your respect through your action, but also through your work. Sometimes it's not just only general sentence. You may need to invite them one by one, like your grandparents, your parents, and your older relatives. It's so quite small, but matter a lot because it kind of marks the beginning of the meal and show that you're being respectful. I still remember one time I visited my relative in the North Vietnam where people were quite strict about this action. I forgot to do that and I got reminded pretty seriously. At that moment, I felt really embarrassed, and I think that can show how important this is in Vietnamese dining culture. And because Vietnamese meals are often shared, there are also small rules about that. For example, you shouldn't use your own chopstick directly in a shared soup. And if you want to take something, you should take it directly, not move things around or dig through the plate to find exactly what you want because that can seem selfish or impolite.
But I have a question. What if the food is too far from you? Because in Malaysia, if the food is too far from you, you can just stand up and take the food. I'm not sure in how you guys do it in Vietnam.
If it's too far, we usually ask people with the food to pass it to us,
Ah, I see.
Nice.
and I will pass the next one to Channel.
Oh yeah, so Malaysia is as I mentioned before, Malaysia is a multicultural country. The dining activity can be slightly different in each community. But respect is always the most important value. For example, in Malay culture, people often eat with their right hands during traditional meals, and washing hands before eating is part of the process. In many families, younger people wait for the older one to begin eating first. When food is shared, everyone is expected to be considerate and take only a fair amount.
This is really funny because in Malay and in Vietnam and in Korea, we have to wait for the elder to eat first.
Yeah, I think because we are Asian country.
Being
Yeah.
polite.
Yes, but one difference between Malaysia and culture is the use of serving spoon. Well, this one is quite interesting because Korean don't really use the serving spoon, but in Malaysia, often come with a special spoon for serving, which help to keep things hygienic. In Korea, people also share many side dishes, but a separate serving spoon is not always used. So even though both countries enjoy shared meal, the dining etiquette can be slightly different. So these small habits may seem simple, but they show that Malaysia dining culture is not only about enjoying food, but also about respect, family, and traditions. Another part of Malaysia dining etiquette is that people usually avoid slurping their food. Unlike in some culture, like for example Japan, where slurping may be acceptable, in Malaysia it is generally considered impolite, especially in formal situations.
I think that Malaysian etiquettes have a lot in common with Korean ones because in Korea, slurping is also not really a good habit. So if you're a fan of Korean mukbang videos on YouTube, you may have seen YouTubers slurping while eating ramen or other kinds of noodles. This has been used as a way to emphasize the sound or visuals of the video in order for like viewers to praise the dish. But this etiquette has brought up kind of controversies whether slurping is an adequate manner in Korean culture, since it isn't really a traditional Korean etiquette when eating food, like you said. So, in fact, most of the traditional Korean eating etiquette deals with not making noises or not doing a certain gesture while eating, like, such as don't open your mouth while chewing, don't slurp, don't burp, talk last while eating, don't put your elbow on the table, and don't hold your bowl all while like eating, unlike Japan.
Yeah, I also experienced that before when I went to my Korean teacher house, and she was really surprised when she saw me hold the bowl when I eat.
Yeah, I think this is because of the Japan's effect after the Japanese invasion. Elder people in Korea used to have this like hatred toward the Japan culture after the invasion. So they didn't like their kids following Japanese culture, which is holding the bowl while eating. So some Korean eating etiquette has to do with being polite to elders, such as waiting until the elders start eating first, just like you guys. So I remember my mom telling me to ask my dad that we're gonna eat first when we had to eat our meals earlier than him. And my sister and I would always shout to my dad, like, 먼저 먹겠습니다, meaning we're gonna eat first, so that my dad, who was at the shower, could hear us.
Yeah, I heard this before in Korean drama, and it's quite special for me because like in Malaysia we don't have something like this, you know. And just now you mentioned that don't hold your bowl while eating. Actually, we can't hold our bowl while eating as well in Malaysia.
Oh,
So
really?
is it the same in every family in Korea or depend on the family? I mean, say if you want to eat first, you need to say something.
I think it mostly common in most of the houses in Korea because we really need to be polite to our elders.
Mm, I see.
Oh, like because you said that Malaysia don't have like this kind of thing.
Yes.
You guys still have to be polite and wait until the elders to eat first, right?
Oh yeah, we
Like,
can like
what if you want to eat first?
we can just like we can eat first, but we have to like tell the older one like, oh, can I will go eat first, something like that.
Oh yeah, so like it's the same, right?
Yeah, it's the same one. Just actually some houses are very strict on these kind of things, but my family is not that strict. That's so we can just do whatever what we like actually.
Yeah, right. That's
Ah,
yeah. My family is not really strict. If we hungry, we just eat first.
okay. So we talked about dining cultures and food cultures in each other's countries and also our own experiences. I hope to see you guys next episode. Please follow us through. That's it for today's episode. Thank you for listening. This was the Asian Trio.